Let me get something out of the way right now. Yeah, I know. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and therefore I was also a huge Star Wars Battlefront fan. I had all of the games, the PlayStation games, the Xbox, on the PSP, and 2 years ago, EA and DICE put out Star Wars Battlefront, kind of a reboot of the series. It was total shit, and back then I decided I would never fall for this ever again. I'll replay my PSP Battlefront games, but I'm never buying a new Battlefront game for as long as I live. And then there was the E3 trailer for Battlefront 2. And I'm thinking I'm gonna go down to my local video game store to ask how many pre-orders exactly I can buy personally and kind of midnight lunch event they're playing for this game. So we all know EA has a habit of fucking things up. This is a meme in the gaming community, and I never truly appreciated that until they fucked with two companies that were very near and dear to my heart. One of them is Westwood. The company that made the Command & Conquer games back in the 90s was bought by EA, I think in, I want to say 2006. I am probably wrong. Command & Conquer, one of my favorite games of all time. I grew up on that shit, and the game has never been the same since EA took the helm of that franchise. And then there was PopCap. PopCap was a small indie developer that made, among other games, Plants vs. Zombies. I beat that game, I think, 7 times. Major, huge fan of that game, and then EA took over, and Plants vs. Zombies 2 is, for my money, the worst sequel a game has ever had. They turned that shit into a free-to-play, pay-to-win garbage. It's garbage. I'm still very angry. I still haven't forgiven EA for what they did with Plants vs. Zombies. I fucking love that game. So Battlefront, I was sold on the commercial. There was one specific commercial that comes to mind that really hit close to home. It's a commercial where it shows these two siblings growing up and playing with Star Wars toys and watching the movies, and then there's a scene where one of them is at his office job and he's looking all bored, and then an X-Wing shows up and it's his brother in the cockpit. He throws a chair through the window and runs and jumps into the... Anyway, just like in that commercial, I grew up on Star Wars. My brother and I were big fans of the franchise. We played with Star Wars action figures, and when my brother was living in the States in early mid-2000s, we would play Star Wars Battlefront 2 online on the PS2. We had the little headset and we'd be talking about life and kind of catching up while playing Star Wars. So that commercial really resonated with me, and the game looked okay, the graphics looked good. So I bought it without reading reviews, which is a major mistake. And turns out the game, it's really fucked when a game that comes out in 2015 has fewer features and fewer character models and fewer maps and fewer game modes than a game that came out on the fucking PlayStation Portable some 10 years before. This is not an exaggeration. The PSP Battlefront games are actually noticeably better than the 2015's Battlefront. No campaign mode. It's funny because I never even played Battlefront that much for the campaign mode before, but how do you make a game without a campaign mode? Explain this to me! There were fewer maps, fewer game modes, like I said. One thing that really pissed me off, it really fucks up the immersion in the game. In the previous Battlefront games, you walk up to a vehicle that exists in the game, it's an object that exists in the battlefield, and then you actually hit a button and you climb into it and then you start driving it. In Battlefront, 2015 Battlefront, the vehicles are power-ups that are just a little glowing thing that's spinning around in the battlefield, reminding you that you're playing a fucking video game, and then you kneel down like a fucking idiot, you call for like air support, and then you spawn already flying an X-Wing or a snowspeeder or whatever the fuck. It's so anticlimactic, it's boring. Fuck. My point is that Battlefront was a huge disappointment to me, and I had sworn off the franchise forever because I was convinced EA will never fucking fix this. Okay, where's the game? I threw it. This is so fucking dumb. Look at this. You see this right here? The AT-AT, the walker, the Imperial walker that we see for the first time in Empire Strikes Back. You can't actually control this thing. This thing moves on rails and you just move the head and Why? So the trailer for Battlefront 2 looks way better. First of all, another thing. How? What the fuck? This game completely ignored the prequels, and I get it, the prequels, if there's something you're going to ignore about Star Wars, the prequels, it's the safest bet. But while the prequels sucked, the character models, and the vehicles, and the locations, that is all cool. That is, Shit on the prequels all you want, and I know I have, but why throw the baby out with the bathwater? Just take advantage of that lore, of the creatures and the vehicles and the locations. Anyway, they're fixing that now. Now we have access to every generation in the series, which you can play with stormtroopers, you can play with clone troopers, you can play... There's more. There is more. And I understand that sometimes less is more, but Battlefront is just... It's really fucked to buy a game for my PlayStation 4 and go back to, like I said, the PSP versions of Battlefront and think this has more content than this. That should never be the case. So yeah, I know I'm setting myself up for disappointment again, but I got super excited when I saw that trailer, and I will probably buy. I will wait for reviews this time. I will not do this again, but here's hoping, because Battlefront was one of the games I played the most on my PlayStation 2, and I missed that series. I missed that series so much, and EA, this time, don't fuck things up. Please, I'm begging you. I gave you 80 of my hard-earned Canadian dollars last time. I'm willing to overlook that and give you some more money. So do me a solid here. But that's all the time I have for today. Let me know what you think. Oh shit, my air conditioning repair guy's here, so I'll talk to you guys later.